To create this layout, there's quite a fair bit of tools and products required. So we're going to start with product-wise, 2 sheets of black cardstock. I'm using black shimmer. 1 sheet of light yellow. I think this came out of one of the cardstock buffets. This one's out of the NSD kit, and that's used for the circle behind the honeycomb border maker. And then we're going to use some papers out of the Garden and Friends. Now, if you don't have the Garden and Friends, you can substitute it for spring papers. So this is going to be my background, and then I am just going to punch out some hexagons with the embossed hexagon punch out of all of these colours of papers out of the Garden and Friends pack. So, and we need quite a lot of hexagons. So let me pop that to one side. Then, there we go. Then what we're going to also need tools-wise, there's a fair bit. Like I say, the hexagon honeycomb border maker system, so the cartridge and the system. If you don't actually own one of the honeycomb BMCs because you weren't lucky enough to get in quick and get one, you can just use the right paper and just leave it plain. The jumbo circle. Now I've also used the circle cutter, but you could just use the jumbo circle. This out of the gemstone pattern, so because I want to use the hexagon. Of course, my blades, my trusty blades. And these two are the features of my layout. So the bee punch and the embossed hexagon punch. 12-inch trimmer. Scissors. The ruler is quite useful. That's the word I was looking for. Your tape runners. And the other few bits and pieces we need is a pencil, multi-purpose tool, and I've used a yellow dot pen and the black fine tip pen. Now, if you don't have the yellow dot pen, just a yellow thick-ended pen will work, but the dot pen makes it nice and easy. So let me clean up and we'll get started. Now we're going to start by cutting out circle that goes behind your photo. Now I wanted to use this photo. I think it's just beautiful, of my husband and my youngest daughter. I just love the smiles on their face, so that's what I wanted to use. So it really is, you could probably fit a couple of smaller photos in this layout, but I am just using the one for the purpose of this one. But like I say, you could fit a couple of smaller ones in if you like. So I will take the jumbo circle. On the inside, blue blade, you go ahead and cut. And I've already gone ahead and done that, so because there's a fair bit of work in this, so I didn't want to make the video too long. After you do that, you will need to use your border maker system and your honeycomb punch, and out of black shimmer cardstock or black cardstock, you will go ahead and punch out about 8 to 10 strips of honeycomb. Now, I'll show you why we're doing that. So move this to one side. Oops, sorry. So this is, once you punch them out, you need to adhere them to your 8 1/4 inch circle. So you can see I've already gone ahead and adhered them because they're a fair bit of work. You want to try to line them up as close as you can. Once you do that, you can take your microtip scissors, turn it over, and just trim off the overhang. Just double check with your repositionable tape you've got it stuck right to the ends. Just carefully cut it the whole way around. And that is going to lie on our base on our bee paper that I showed you would be our base earlier. That's going to be behind. So we'll pop that to one side. And the next thing we need to do is take one of our sheets of black cardstock. And now what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to use, it's going to be a little bit hard, oh actually before we do that, before I forget, so of course we always need the 12-inch trimmer, don't we? Pop those to one side. And we're going to cut 1/2 inch off two sides. In my planning, I did try to do this without trimming it, but it just didn't quite fit. So the 1/2 inch off two sides, giving it 11.5 by 11.5, will make it fit perfectly. Okay, so it was really important we did that. Pop that to one side. Now this is where your 13-inch by 13-inch mat comes into play. So you'll want to line up your paper so it's lined up to your 11.5 by 11.5. So just line up all your corners. As you can see, I've done. So if we've cut that straight, it should be right. Because we're now going to try to get a circle cut out of the center. So taking a ruler and pencil, because we need the lines to help line us up, we're going to rule across, and this is the easiest way of cutting a circle of any size out of the center of your paper with a circle cutter. It certainly takes the frustration out of things. It allows you to see things where they're going to line up. Now it won't matter about that because we're going to turn it over and use the other side anyway. So now using your circle cutter, and you want to line it up so it's about 9.5 inches on the cutter, roughly. And what we're going to do is we're going to line up this line and this line. And I have put a line in on the halfway marks at either end. I don't know whether you can see that on mine. So I can see exactly where the line is. It's just a helpful guide so we can try to get it in the middle. So once we line it up, matter of just trying to see over the top of it, make sure our lines are all lined up, and you will get pretty close. So you're lining up the line on the clear guide on this side, and then your little marking line that you put on each side here. So then once that's all lined up, just making sure, very hard when you've got a camera in your way. Okay, once that's all lined up, push down, hold in the button, and we are going to cut. I like to go around a couple of times because you really want to make sure it's going to be cut all the way through. Yes, we have cut. So that was fairly easy, and you can see you've almost got that in the center there. Well, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. So we're going to discard this part. We're not going to need this part, but this is the part we're going to use. So let me grab my base. Oh, the next part we're going to do is we're going to take a yellow piece of cardstock, and I've already gone ahead and pre-cut it. But you are going to do exactly the same as you did with the with your yellow sheet. I've already gone ahead and done mine. So once you've cut out your black and then your yellow, before you adhere the yellow to your black, you need to punch out 35 embossed hexagons out of your Garden and Friends paper pack. So when you punch it out, I don't know which side is going to be the best side to show you. The side that you want facing up, it's best if you, when you push down, just push down really hard, because then you will get that embossed, I don't know whether you can see that embossed effect on your hexagon. So if you don't push so hard, you won't get the embossed effect. So we need for you to punch out 35 of these in a variety of different, if you want different, I chose to do different patterns. You may want yours the same, but I chose to do different patterns. So I've already gone ahead and done that. So we can move on to our next part. And what you need to do is cut 5 of them in half. So you have 10 halves and 30 fulls. So let's start putting them down, give you an idea how the pattern is going to go. So you will have, I believe, from memory, I think it's 5 halves along the bottom and 7 fulls up the top. So, and I think it's 4 full ones along the bottom. So I started with trying to get the middle one first, because I think that is then easier for you to line it all up. So if you get it roughly in the middle, and then we can work our way out. So that will be along there. Just trying to sort colours, because you don't want all your colours bunching up together, obviously. But you can see if you evenly space them. Now, I know that's hanging over the edge, but we're going to go ahead once you do it like you did with your honeycomb and fussy cut around that when you have finished. So this, oh, we'll use a different colour there. This is roughly how it's going to line up. Let's find a different colour. So it's a full, then a half, full, then a half, and alternate them right to get along to the end. Whoop. Let's choose a different colour. And try to keep your colours alternating. So a half one. And I've tried not to use the same pattern. So you can see how that's going to fill up. Then when we, on the other side, along your vertical, you will have a half one top and bottom, and then the rest of them will just be full. Oh, find a different one. Always a challenge trying to get your different patterns. Oh, I think we'll use a bee one. Make sure you keep your edge, your point to the edge. So you are going to end up with a bit of a gap here unless you want to trim off. And I may go ahead and do that and cut the ends off to fill in those little gaps. I may go ahead and do that with extras afterwards. So you keep going until you, I think it'll fit 7 in all the way to the top. If you see on the mat there, that looks like almost the halfway point. So just evenly space them. And I will just get an idea of showing you how they're going to look roughly before I go ahead and put them all down for you. Oh, we don't want the same as that, so what other colour can we go? I might go the yellow one. That makes most sense. So you can see how they fit quite nicely if you space them correctly. And then in these sections here, you're going to want to add full ones there as well. So pop that one there. I think we have a cloud. Oh no, that'll be a bit clashy. I might go the full green one there. But you can see how they're all going to fit into place. And you want to keep going till you've filled the whole outside, keeping it evenly spaced, as you can see. So the only thing you'll see coming through is the black. And then, as I said, if you want to cut some smaller pieces to do those on both sides, you can do that as well. So I'll go ahead and stick all this down, and we'll come back to you and show you where we go from at our next step. So I've now gone ahead and popped all my hexagons on my frame, and they did overlap. And what I did is I took my scissors, turned it over, and carefully just fussy cut around till they were all cut off. So that's all you need to do. You just need to take it slowly and be a little bit careful with it, and it will all come together. So I'll put it the way I wanted it up. And so this is how it's turned out, and I think it's turned out all right. And now we're going to adhere it to our underlying cardstock and backing paper. In the proceeds of doing this, whilst I was off camera, I did have another look at my colour choices, and especially with this in the middle and how busy this is. And I decided that the yellow cardstock doesn't quite work for me. I think it's a little bit light for the papers, and sometimes that actually happens when you're putting stuff together. So I've gone ahead and changed it out for the bronze shimmer. Pop that to one side, which I think actually works a whole lot better. But I also then looked at it again and went, you know what, whilst I like that better, I still think with the patterns, the backing paper is still a bit of a conflict. So I went ahead and swapped the bee paper out. Initially I thought the bee paper, that's going to be perfect, it's bees, it's going to be great. But I've ended up swapping it out to this because I think it's just a bit more muted, and it kind of just makes a little bit more sense to me. So our next thing is to adhere this to our underlying cardstock. Now you will have a few rough edges. You could place a ring over the top if you like. I'm just going to leave mine, I think. Or you could, if you got that that tool we had quite a number of years ago. Let me see if I can find it. It'll be in my caddy. The paper edger. You could rub around with the paper edger if you wanted to. But I think I'm just going to leave mine the way it is. By the time I've added my embellishments, it'll all work. So I'll pop all these, adhere this lot to the backing paper. So this one was from the Endless Meadows, by the way, if you're wondering. Adhere this all down, and we'll come back to you and show you how we're finishing up. Before I stick this down, I just thought I wanted to point something out. So a couple of things, but mostly you can see the bronze shimmer is just ever so slightly smaller than the black shimmer, and then that way it won't show through when you're adhering it to your page. So make sure you do that. And the other thing I wanted to point out was oh, I've forgotten what I was going to point out to you now. Let me think about that. We'll stick this down while I'm thinking about it and see if it comes to me. Always the way. Get this one down. You can see that's kind of nice and clean now. I have noticed I'll have to get a multi-purpose tool and adjust this. I might do that now. As you can see, it's just slightly crooked. You could add the extra bits into these if you were more OCD than I am, but I thought I might just possibly try to use some embellishments to cover that. So we may have to trim that off a tiny little bit, but it needs to be straight at least. See if we can avoid lifting it right off. Right, I think that's better. It's at least straight. Okay, so back to it. So now I'd contemplated putting these on foam squares, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to stick it down. And it's a nice use of the honeycomb border maker cartridge. So there's my base. Now as I said earlier, I'm only going to use the one photo in this layout, which I've gone ahead and chosen and matted. And a beautiful photo of my husband and my youngest daughter. So I'd like to use that. And I've matted it with a 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 black shimmer, and then use the cloud colour from our National Scrapbook Day cardstock pack, and done a 6 1/2 by a 4 1/2. And I think I'm going to place that roughly there. So I need to fill a couple of spots here. And what I have decided to do, I'll move that to one side for now, is we're going to make some embellishments. So I'm going to create some hexagons, and I've already gone ahead. I'm going to teach you how to make these. Done a bee, and I've picked some titles that I'm going to use. So I'm going to create 2 hexagons, and this is one out of the gemstones pack, and I'll have to get my blades. And the other one, remember these from just forever ago. So I'm going to use this one will create big enough to fit the word happy, and this one will fit the word amazing. So we'll need our blades, and this is the inside of my black shimmer that I cut, so we're just reusing this. Blades. And okay, so if we cut the inside, because we want this to be the largest size hexagon we can get with the red blade, we will get, I think, big enough to fit our word on. I still can't think of what it was I was thinking of earlier. It's too early in the morning. Okay, there's one. And then out of the purple one, I don't think we need to go that large. So I'd be inclined to do the green blade on the inside. And then the red blade will be our paper choice. Oops, make sure we're both in. So funny, you think you're never going to use these, and then you find something, you think, oh, I just need something a little bit bigger. And you find the perfect size in something you haven't used forever. So I think they will be good, because I think that's going to fit my word quite nicely. So that's a cardstock backing. And then the paper, I was going to initially use a different colour paper, and then I re-looked at everything. I think this will go nicely because it's out of the Garden and Friends pack, I believe. And I think it'll kind of sit quite nicely on top of the backing that I want to use it for. So if we use that, and now the green blade, because we used the red blade initially, okay, that's going to be my top. Change templates. Oh, that way. Now, we already used the green for this one, so we'll need to use the blue. Let me stop and think about it for 3 seconds. Yeah, is that going all the way through? Just missed the corner there. Okay, there is our papers cut. Don't need that anymore, we can get rid of that. Okay, so these are going to be to put a word on each, and a bee. So I've got be happy, and this one will be amazing. So I just need to make some more of these bees, and let's show you how easy that is to do. So all you need is a scrap piece of cardstock and the bee punch. And punch out your bee. You can see I've punched something else out because it's all fallen out. Let's get rid of all that. Okay, so punch out your bee. Then we need to add some vellum to it. Remember the old vellum. So if you've got some scraps of vellum lying around, this is perfect for this. Let's grab this so we don't make a mess of my mat that I've just cleaned up. Okay. Use the other end actually. Rub away any excess. Rid of that for a moment. And then the tricky part, you will need to fussy cut around the whole thing. I know, lots of fussy cutting with this layout, but I find it very therapeutic. Just take it slowly. You could have the bees without the vellum behind it and just have the plain bees, but this gives you an opportunity to create the bees' wings. And in fact, you could probably not even cut around that and just lift it away and cut underneath it, because you don't need it there. That makes more sense and makes your life easier. So not chop off the other bit behind the other antenna. Oops. And I know you're probably thinking, why did you just not put it just behind the wings? Well, we need it down the bottom behind the body so we can give it some colour. So you may need to go back like I need to and trim it up even more so you can't see any of the vellum coming through. I will pull that one back there because we don't need it behind that part. There we go. You can probably do what I've just done then and lift it up if you have to, just to clear it. So it's a little bit tricky, bit of work. But anyway, I'll go back and finish cleaning that up when you don't have to watch me doing that. Let's show you how to finish it off. So how I got the bees, such a cute little bee, the bee's body yellow was, if you are lucky enough to have a dot tip pen or a yellow journal pen with a thick end, this is perfect. CM years ago did a yellow journal pen, so you may have that. And you just colour it in. So easy. Nothing. I've seen them done where people punch out one yellow and one black, but and swap the bits over. But the biggest problem with that is it's easy for little bits to fall out. But this way, you won't have that happening. So we'll let that dry. And how I did the wings was also, if you are lucky enough to have got one of the Creative Memories fine tip, micro tip black pens, or you have an archival quality one, it's just a matter of squiggle lines, and I don't even think it's important where you squiggle them. So you kind of get the idea. It looks like the wings of a bee. And it's pretty simple and easy to do. So what's going to happen is one of these will be on this, and the second one will be on this. So I might point them in different directions. So it'll be Be Happy and Be Amazing, which I think are such great things to say. And then what they will do is I think I'm going to pop that one to the top. And I think that one will be at the bottom. So roughly something like that. So let me go ahead and finish adhering all that, and I might create a few more bees to adhere, and then we'll come back and show you what it looks like finished. Okay, I've held back doing one bee left because I actually found an easier way than sticking it straight to the vellum and then fussy cutting around it. So if you cut your rectangles these rectangles 1 inch wide by 1.5 inches long, it will be enough to pretty much will fit your little bee shape. Now I discovered it's much easier if you hold it tight to the bottom and fussy cut around it before you adhere it. It just makes it so much easier. You can see how quick and easy that was. Coming into this section's a tiny bit harder. Like I say, as long as you hang on to it so you so it doesn't move and you keep it in one place. I found that this was by far the easiest way of doing it. Now, how quick and easy was that? It's a matter of popping it together. And I also found that if you adhere that, I think that's the right way, while it's upside down, you can make sure that there's nothing overhanging. Make sure it's going to cover all the areas that you need it to cover. But how much quicker and easier was that than trying to fussy cut around the whole thing? So just make sure you remove all your adhesive before you go ahead and use your dot pen. Quick draw on some wings, and you don't even have to be precise. Just connect all the bits at one point or another and it will be enough to make it look like bee wings. Right, done. So that was so quick and easy, wasn't it? It was much, much easier than trying to fussy cut around the whole thing and risk cutting into your black outer edge. So now I've already gone ahead and stuck down my photo, and I've stuck down these. Now I'm debating, use that last one up here, debating whether to I don't know, we'll have you going that way. Make sure they're opposite to each other. So they're kind of flying near the whole of the beehive, because that's kind of what I was going for, the whole of the beehive. So we're into the beehive. I almost want to put that there to cover that little edge that's driving me nuts, so maybe I'll do that. So now I think I will definitely foam square these ones, and I might just adhere those ones down. But I think that it's a bit of work, but it turned out to be, I think, one of the most favourite layouts I think I've ever done. So I'm pretty happy with the results. Now I guess if you foam square it, here's a thought. I don't know whether the foam squares are going to show through. Are they going to show through? No, the yellow dot pen covers it enough. I wouldn't put it under the wings, but I think you can. Oh yes, that definitely works. But I think the other four, I think I'm just going to stick those directly down with some repositionable tape runner. You could actually use the vellum tape runner if you have it. And I might actually see if I can find mine and use that. But I think the repositionable would be fine. I might even go ahead and draw a few little trails, or, you know, on those. So anyway, I'll go ahead and stick all those down. I hope you have fun making yours. Thank you. Okay, I've finished adhering everything down, and this is my finished page, but I just wanted to clarify with you about the adhesive with the vellum. So I did a test run with the repositionable and a little bit of vellum, and that's what you get. But with the vellum tape runner, if you place it behind it and you rub it, it almost becomes invisible. You can barely see it. So your vellum one will be a blue cartridge if you have it. So that might be what you need rather than the repositionable. But anyway, I'm pretty happy with the result. And like I said earlier, I think I added the flower out of the layered embellishments because I felt like it just needed something in that little spot there. But besides that, I'm pretty happy with the layout. I think it turned out fantastic. So I hope you are game enough to attempt it, and have a lovely day.